Hey Gav Gang, and welcome to Path of Exile video concentrating on the Raider Toxic Rain Caustic Arrow build for Heist. Whether you're doing Baby Heist or whether you're doing True Endless Heist, this path of building I'm going to go through today will cover that. There's no gameplay on here, just going through the POB and then popping a link to the POB in the description down below. I would like to add that this is a suggested POB, heavily suggested by myself. I've thoroughly tested it over many leagues, and this particular variant has been tested in Standard, which is where my Baby Heist character is. It's been tested in the Calandra League itself, which is where I have a True Endless Heist character. And additionally, I also did a solo self-found run in Standard up to Act 6, level 50, and then did some contracts and it was fine. I didn't progress that solo self-found journey any further because at Act 6 you're kind of then looking for uniques to apply to your character to make it better in some cases. And with limited time I didn't want to start grinding for those uniques because I just don't have the time. So that run ended there. I was happy with the way it progressed through the acts and how it ended up in doing Heist, so there's that out of the way. The other note is because the Heist hasn't changed and these builds have been looked at by many different content creators, there are so many ways of putting this build together. I just prefer this way because I focus on the three most important things during Heist: speed, DPS and defences. No one of those has been given priority. It's all taking the same level. So I'm just going to grab a drink and then we'll go into the POB. Okay, here it comes. So here's the POB. We'll start with the tree. I've split this up into 5 sections: Act 1 to 4 with Normal Lab, 5 to 7 and Cruel Lab, 8 to 10 and Merc Lab, a Baby Endless Heist version, and then True Endless Heist version. With a note on the Baby Endless Heist, some people prefer to do 60 to 61, 61 to 62. I have other videos on my channel while I think 59 to 60 is the best, but again, if you're running a Baby Heist variant, it's up to you which level you choose. True Endless Heist is best at 67 to 68, hands down. Thank you very much. A quick note on this particular starter tree: before you go into Normal Lab, ideally you would want to have the 3 nodes in Survivalist to give you those elemental resists, and to have completed Revenge of the Hunted for the extra 19% increased max life that you would receive from those 3 nodes. The reason I've done this rather than a act by act is because it depends on your skill and your gear drops as to what you need at one point. And not only that, it was quite scary looking at about 15 different trees and constantly having to update them as you go through the acts. Also, people reach the end of act at a different level, so this kind of evens that out. So that's the Act 1 to 4. There's the 5 to 7 with Cruel Lab. Let's zoom out a bit so you can see the whole tree. There we go. 8 to 10 and Merc Lab. The Endless Heist, you only get a couple of extra points there. And then finally the True Endless Heist at 67 to 68. The reason we do this tree is because by the time we've completed Cruel Lab, here at the suggested gear for Act 1 and skills at Act 1, we are 100% suppression cap after you've completed Cruel Lab and got Quartz Infusion. There is no need to go up to Mage Bane because of the new values on the tree of this node here and elsewhere. And the 40% from Quartz Infusion, you're suppression capped, so we save all the points going up to here. So that's the tree. Into the skills. we start with Act 1 to 6. They don't really change. The note section goes into 4 links for you, but this is the base setup at Act 1, with a note here that you're adding Purity of Elements at Act 3 and a self-cast Despair for bosses and res. In Act 4, if you have the Alchemy Orbs, you'll be purchasing in order: Castle Damage Taken, Phase Run, and Hex Touch. Castle Damage Taken has the second highest XP requirement to level up, so we grab it as soon as possible and start leveling it up. Level 3 Castle Damage Taken is probably where you're looking to go, and then it's based on the life pool you've managed to amass from gear and the tree. Ideally you want it to be setting off at a third of your life, so if you've got 2100 life, you need the Castle Damage Taken to be popping off at around 700. Once you pick up your Molten Shell in Act 6, you can then level that to the highest level it'll go when Castle Damage Taken, which it says here the requires levels 38, and this gem can only be support skill gems requiring level 38 or lower. That's at level 1, so again this is why we need it to grab that first and level it up. Once you get to Act 6, you will need to re-gear and re-gem. By this point you should have full 4 links on your character, with hopefully a 5 link, and if you do, you'd be prioritising Caustic Arrow and getting the Decay for bosses and rares. It is by far the biggest single target DPS bonus we can get. And then if you're lucky enough to have 2 5 links, then you'll be adding Efficacy to the Toxic Rain setup. You also get your Castle Damage Taken set up, the 3 auras. We got rid of Determination because the Mana Preservation Mastery has been removed, and to apply Determination to the build in the current state of the tree is a phenomenal amount of investment into Mana Reservation, sacrificing defense, DPS and speed. It's not worth it. We take Defiance Banner because of the reduced critical strike chance, and that is very handy when we're running out of heists. There's a 4th link open there. You could put in a low level Clarity or a low level Vitality, or if you're lucky enough to have one drop in Heist, an Enlighten, or you can purchase an item to make your mana issues easier. If you don't have a Lionized Paws boots, there's an easy Frostblink Hex Touch Despair setup with Phase Run. And then by this point we're just leveling Conk Effect, the 6th link for Toxic Rain, and the Efficacy, the 6th link for our Caustic Arrow. 7 to 10 assumes you have a 6 link, 1 6 link for Caustic Arrow, and then either a 5 link or a 6 link for Toxic Rain, and 4 links for everything else. And then Baby Heist, where you'd be in the Baby Heist setup without Lionized Paws, so we're still on the Phase Run Frostblink setup. And then finally True Endless Heist 67 to 68, where we assume you're running Lionized Paws or the replica is better, and then we're buffing the Rain of Arrows on Lionized Paws, the Toxic Rain on replica Lionized Paws, with Despair, Hex Touch, Withering Touch, and life gain on hit. At this point it is very hard for you to die in Heist unless you are one shot out of the blue. I don't die in Heist on these builds, so you shouldn't either if you have the Lionized Paws and Castle Damage Taken set up. It works in conjunction with each other. Onto the items. These are just suggested items, obviously, as you go through the acts. We start off hoping for a 3-linked short bow in Act 1. At the end of Act 2 going in, at the end of Act 1 going into Act 2, you'd hope to get a longbow. Any bow base is okay, preferably one with a lower attack speed. A higher attack speed, so 1.25 attacks per second is ideal. The implicit is irrelevant. So even if it says it has crit rating or elemental damage, whatever, it's irrelevant. Just get one with 1.52 attacks per second and you'll be laughing. A Hero's Bite is a BIS quiver for the mass amount of stats plus attack speed and AoE, and the life gained on hit is there's no In my opinion, there's no better quiver for this build. So by this point, again, you're looking for 3 links, 4 links, any base to get the socket colours you need for your gems. Armor evasion is better, but that could cause complication with any blue gems. Lapis amulet for your amulet setup for the intelligence, that can be brought in Act 1. It may even drop in Act 1. And a heavy belt for the strength to help your gems. And then rings, it's any resist ring that you need for the axe. Early in the axe, I run 2 mana flasks, 2 life flasks, and then the quest reward quicksilver. Into Act 6, by this point you've got your granite flask from Act 5, so you're then running a life flask and then a mana flask plus your quicksilver, and then either an additional life or an additional mana flask depending on what you want. And there's the again the suggested gear. By this point you moved into an agate amulet, which is the strength and intelligence rolls, and also because we've killed Act 5 Katava, we're down 30% chaos resist, so try and buy amethyst rings from the vendor or trade if you're in trade to get that chaos resist back up to 0. The baby heist version, by this point we're looking for a praxis for the minus mana cost of skills. That's the only roll that we really care about, and trying to get it as high as possible, with -8 being the perfect roll. And then again all the gear and where to pick up your flasks for quest rewards to save you money, so you don't have to buy them from trade. Finally, True Endless Heist with the suggested uniques. The new Death Rush ring is amazing. Try and get hold of one of those if you can. Not only that, it helps us cap our chaos resist. I've also kept in here the Praxis ring. You could replace that with a Lehoop of All if you wished, or a rare ring of your choice. There's the Lionized Paws, makes its appearance on the gear as well. As you can see there, it will trigger a level 5 rain of arrows when you attack with your Caustic arrow. The replica variant of Lionized Paws is better because it procs Toxic Rain, and that scales with our nodes on the tree. And yeah, so that's it. Here's all the notes of where to pick up gems, how to link them, when to start looking for various options if you're in trade. If you're in solo self-found, by now you'll be used to amending POBs to suit whatever you happen to have drop. This build does work fine in a solo self-found environment. I've tested it. And then down to the bottom here, you've got your priority order of gem setups, plus notes on the uniques that I usually have in the build, like Lionized Paws, Queen of the Forest, Devoto's Devotion. Also options on expensive items to craft or buy from trade, and then alt quality gems that will work better for the build if you have the currency to invest in that far. We can't use any awakened gems, they're too high level for our level cap of 67/68. And then if you really have to, if you really have the currency and want to, you can buy the 2 big items of the build, which is an Ashes of the Stars and a Mage Blood. At this point, with the Ashes of the Stars and Enlighten level 3, Sovereignty anointed on your amulet, you may be able to fit in Determination rather than a Defiance banner. That is your choice. And then after that, if you still really want to invest, you can then buy corrupted gear and corrupted gems from trade. I hope you found this helpful. I hope this build works for you. I know we've passed league start scenario, so many of you may have already got your build kind of set up and working. I assure you that this build is better, and if you're at this stage, I know it would be a lot of investment on Orb of Regrets, but it will be better, it will be more enjoyable. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Stay safe in Rogue Harbour.